Welcome back to Bash Bros in episode 41 of Notorious Pro Wrestling, the TEW Let's Play series where we find out what exactly would happen if Conor McGregor started his own wrestling promotion. Week 4 of November, and it is the Fallout show from the Braveheart, our Scottish pay-per-view. So I have kind of penned out the next 4 weeks, as I always do after a show, of storylines and such things. And it kind of made me realise that, God, I really cannot wait till we start signing people exclusively, because I had plans for the pay-per-view and already those plans have fallen through, because now thankfully I used foresight to go ahead and see what exactly, or who exactly was available. And just for example, I'll kind of show you who exactly isn't available that has kind of messed up my plans. So we'll go to the availability menu, go to our Frostbite pay-per-view, which is the next one. So Amir Jordan, Kid Lycos Jr., Mark Andrews and Mark Davis are all people who I have plans for the pay-per-view, and Attack is using all of them. Yeah, kind of sucked. My plans were going to be have Aussie Open versus Lycos Gym at the pay-per-view, and then also, as you remember last time, Grado was going to get a title shot at the next pay-per-view due to him winning the Braveheart Battle Royal. But I was going to do some sneaky shenanigans and have Mark Andrews go in instead. Now it looks like we're going to have Grado main event the pay-per-view. And although he has gotten better since we've kind of made him a semi-active wrestler, although he has gotten better, I am scared. I do not think Grado is good enough. Even with Penta, who is one of our better performers, I just don't think Grado is good enough to main event the pay-per-view. But I've booked myself into a corner. We're going to power on through. So those are just some of the. That's just some behind the scenes ska, I suppose. In terms of company news and world news, so company news, we have signed Angel Hayes, who we talked about last time. So she has officially joined us. She will probably be kind of our women's division face jobber for a while. She's not particularly good in terms of skill, although her basics they're fine, they're solid. So, and her mic and entertainment skills, I suppose, are below average. So I think she'll be a jobber for a while. I don't see her kind of challenging for the title or anything anytime soon. Then also on top of news, so Will Hobbs' contract is ending. We did only sign him for 6 months to see how he got on. He is fine. He kind of had one main event match against Easton Reese on an episode of Wanted, which was a bit of a stinker. If you look at kind of what the matches he's done for us, he's only really had 6 matches for us. They have been... His best match has kind of been just knocking TV main event level. I will be re-signing him. He's a good kind of hired muscle aspect for Ace Austin's kind of Weasley character, and also for Carlos Romo's cocky youth character. So I'm going to keep him about for another while. I have re-entered negotiations with him. Only real other bit of world news then is that Frankie Kazarian has left AEW. I probably won't bring Frankie in. He is good, especially he excels in the basics, and skills are above average. But I can't think where I would use him other than just kind of like mid-card jobber fodder. He wouldn't be a jobber, but he'd definitely be the guy like, I need a decent match, throw him in, and then that would be it. Plus, again, I don't want to just hire a bunch of American guys. Not that we do have a good healthy a good number of American guys, but I do kind of want to keep us predominantly British and Irish. So that is it for news. I suppose then we'll look at the storylines going forward for the next month. So these are kind of the 6 that I have in mind, with a bunch of mini narratives in between. Working from the bottom to the top. So Ace Austin and Carlos Romo are going to have a small feud with Grisham and Lethal. This is just kind of to tie all 4 of these guys over until January, because all 4 will be a part of the Proper 12 tournament, which will be coming back in January time. With, of course, which is our version of the G1 Climax, essentially. Named after Conor McGregor's whiskey. Because that's the sort of thing Conor McGregor would do. I have big plans for this P12. And plus, for me as well, I think it's going to be really interesting to see the 12 competitors we have this year and compare them to the 12 competitors we have last year, and see kind of where we've kind of ended up, or how we've changed in the last year, how our roster and our main event scene has changed in the last year. That'll be very interesting. So yeah, this is just a kind of a stopgap feud, where it's going to kind of be just, you know, John, to be honest, I'm expecting a belter match at the pay-per-view, because we know Ace can go, we know Carlos can go, and we know Grisham can go, and we know Lethal can go. So I'm expecting a belter match at the Frostbite pay-per-view. Debbie Kettle versus Martina, so that was originally tied into the Tessa and Viper storyline. It's kind of split off in its own thing. This will wrap up towards the end of the month. Yeah, at the Frostbite pay-per-view then we'll have Debbie Kettle versus Martina in a rematch from last month. This time minus Tennille Dashwood, because Tennille will be facing Zia Brookside in the blow-off of their couple of month-long storyline of kind of Tennille taking Zia under her wing, mentoring her, and then kind of throwing her under the bus when she didn't get her way. One more month of Alpha Female versus Crazy Mary Dobson, just to kind of have Mad Marley Quinn have a couple of matches as a part of that. So Mad Marley obviously debuted at the pay-per-view, helping Crazy Mary Dobson win, essentially. This match will probably wrap up this month too. December week 3, I think I'm going to have it wrap up, just to... This was literally just a feud to introduce Mad Marley Quinn. Maybe probably have Crazy Mary Dobson be the next contender for the Women's Championship, but we'll see. Her performances have been good, but not where I thought they would be. So the Aussie Open versus Jim Lykos storyline has had the Grizzled Young Vets added to it to make it for the tag titles. Just because I think Lykos Jim have been with us for a long time, have been belters. Especially Lykos has been putting in some 60-esque performances, which is good. Aussie Open have been good, and they're the latest debut, and probably our top face tag team. Well, them are Lethal and Gresham, but they will be the next contenders for the tag titles, having won the number 1 contenders match at the Braveheart pay-per-view. So far in this feud, kind of like Jim have been buddy with Aussie Open. We'll see them turn this month on them. Eventually, it's been like the writing's been on the wall. Everyone knew it was going to happen. Judy Fleisch even tried to warn Aussie Open, you know, like these guys are going to stab you in the back like they did to us and Rich Swann. Yeah, Rich Swann, remember him? He's still out injured with a torn bicep. But they didn't listen, and now they will, you know. In the next couple of weeks, Lykos Jim will attack them, do bad things, and then, yeah. The original plan was to have Aussie Open then win. Oh, sorry, the original plan was then have Aussie Open Lykos Jim at the pay-per-view, but that's just not happening now with the double bookings, so... Yeah, Grizzly Young Vets will have a random ass title match, I suppose, at the pay-per-view now. Disappointing, but we're just not at that size where we can convince wrestlers to come work for us over other places, unfortunately. Tessa and Dynasty versus Viper. This will wrap... well, we're going to give this 2 more months, I think. We have... Tessa versus Viper will be coming kind of at the Frostbite pay-per-view, and then I think we'll have a rematch at the pay-per-view after, because I want to introduce a new member in the Dynasty. I actually want to introduce a couple of members in the Dynasty, but I don't want to just do it willy-nilly. I actually want to build up to it. So 2 more months left roughly on Tessa versus Viper, and then Eastern Reese versus Penta. So this has got about another 2 to 3 months left on it, I think. Easton is obviously still kind of trying to break through that barrier into the main event scene. He won't be getting his title shot this month. This month he's going to have a coming of age match, I suppose, the match that pushes him into main event status. He'll be having that while Penta gives Grado his title shot at this pay-per-view. And then pay-per-view after, which would be our first pay-per-view of 2022, that's when Easton Reese will get his first title shot. Yeah, we'll say that. And also throughout this feud then is we're going to continue to see Jake the Snake Roberts get a lot more attached to the championship belt. You know, like, get to the stage, you know, where like Penta's like say if someone unworthy like Grado, you know, picks it up, you know, he rips it away and blames Penta for allowing such a unworthy peasant to pick up the title, you know. So he'll, to the point where he starts carrying it to the ring, not Penta, and to the point where, you know, whenever the ref goes to hand the title back to Penta, Jake snatches it away instead, because he doesn't trust Penta with his baby, essentially, this precious thing. But yeah, so that's all the pay-per-views going for the next month. I'm actually really excited for the P12 starting back up in January. Lots of cool ideas, cool to see kind of who I'll bring in for it. Cool to see that Grado won't be in it again. But yeah, I'm genuinely really excited, so we'll see. So with all that being said, let's book the show. And we are back, coming at you from the City West Hotel in Ireland. It is Thursday Night Wanted. A lot of angles this week, so I kind of spammed Connor a wee bit. Just, well, twice. Once on the pre-show, so it won't really count. Another one on the main card, which should help. Lots of stories, guys. Lots of stories. Gotta hit those story beats. Yeah, so we got Dynasty versus the NIC on as a pre-show, just to give Dynasty a bit of momentum. And we have Martina versus Raven Creed in a bit of a squash match to get Martina's momentum back. Easton Reese versus Mark Andrews should be a good match, I think. And then Aussie Open versus Chris Young Vets in the main event. So let's get into it. So that's supposed to be Mark Davies, not Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews has got nothing to do with it. Just, does anybody else get this whenever they have people with the same name? In my WWE save, it was always Charles Robinson and Charlotte Flair, because whenever you type in CHAR, you get Charles Robinson instead of Charlotte, and then the number of angles I had with Sasha Banks talking shit to Charles Robinson instead of Charlotte Flair was infuriating, and it's happening all over again. Anyway, forget about Mark Andrews, right? This is about Aussie Open. So, the Lycos Gym go up to Aussie Open, and they're like, oh, no hard feelings about the pay-per-view, guys, you know, base fair and square, good luck out there tonight. To fake that they're okay with losing. 42 rated segment there. Also backstage on the pre-show, so Easton Reese is irate that Grado, of all people, is getting a title shot before he is. James Storm's there trying to calm him down. Grado doesn't help matters whenever he comes in, and inadvertently flaunts his title shot contract in front of Easton Reese. Mark Andrews sticks up for Grado, saying, you know what, hold on, Grado earned this, he won the Battle Royale, he earned this. And that doesn't sit well with Easton Reese. He then goes on to challenge Mark Andrews to a match tonight. 61 rated segment. And in a pre-show main event, a match that had fantastic heat and good wrestling, Dynasty defeated the NIC in 15 minutes when Davey Boy Smith pinned Oshin Delaney. So Davey Boy had a 51, Joe had a 48, Charlie had a 42, and Oshin had a 45. And it was a 47 rated match, which is better than I expected. On to the main show then. So in a bout that had fantastic heat and decent wrestling, Martina defeated Raven Creed in 10 minutes with the Codebreaker. Martina had a 48 and Raven had a 34, and Raven debuted her crazy gimmick, which got a great 40 all match. It was a bit of a squash match, so I wasn't expecting much, so I'm happy enough with that. Post match then, Debbie and Tennille come out and try to humiliate Martina again, like they did at the pay-per-view when they rubbed off her makeup. But Zia Brookside returns and runs at the heels off. 47 segment, which is okay. So in an exceptional match, Easton Reese defeated Mark Andrews in 14:58 with a powerbomb. Easton Reese got a 47 and Mark Andrews got a 58. Oh, man, like, is it just me or are Easton's matches getting worse? Which is very worrying, considering in 2 months' time he's going to have a title match. Grado was a good work at ringside. A 50 match, like, the match itself was good, but like, Mark Andrews did what he could with Easton. So yeah, that is worrying to be fair. Post-match, Pentagon and Co, aka Sonico, attack everyone until Hero makes the save, but Reese is annoyed that Hero has made the save. He's annoyed more just because, you know, needing help, needing saved is another reminder maybe he's not where he thinks he should be at. You know, he's not a main event talent. So he kind of argues with Chris a wee bit. 57 segment, which is good. Very good. So, in a in-ring pre-match segment, as Aussie Open are making their way to the ring, Mark Andrews again. Fuck off, Mark Andrews. Oh my god. Pretend it's Mark Davies. Lyco's Gym attack Aussie Open before their match down the ramp during their entrance. Destroy them with chairs, really beat the crap out of them until agents, Conor McGregor and Doug Williams have to pull them off and send them to the back. Whilst Aussie Open are kind of recuperating in the ring a bit, Grizzle Young Vets music hits and the match will continue as planned. 77 because I had Conor do most of the talking. And in the main event then, so an exceptional match, Grizzly Young Vets defeated Aussie Open in 2025 when Zach Gibson pinned Mark Davis with a ticket to ride, making it defense number 5 for Grizzly Young Vets. Kyle had a 56, Mark had a 51, Zach had a 51, and James Drake had a 53. 55 overall. Good, solid TV main event match. Good shit. And that is the show. Goes to 59, which is good. And increase in popularity. So there is no real news in the world really other than Mandy Rose's time with WWE. Hey ho. But that's it for this week. Yous will be back next week for December week 1's Wanted, and then after that it'll be a straight shot right through to the pay-per-view. If you did like this episode, do leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And also, if you have any ideas for feuds, tag teams, manager pair-ups, storylines, whatever, leave them in the comments and I will try to book them for you. With all that being said, I will see you next time on Bash Bros. Hit the drums.